Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint, where today I am disgracing myself in Unreal Tournament by underestimating the capability of skilled bots in CTF. I nearly said Control Deathmatch. I'm not sure what Control Deathmatch is, but we haven't got time to talk about Control Deathmatch and what it supposedly could be because we've got a lot to talk about today. So I recorded 15 minutes of footage so that I could talk a little bit more without feeling too squished. So I shouldn't waste that by fumbling my words. Let's get into it. First of all, I would like to talk about the Nintendo Direct that we had this week, where Nintendo, not yesterday, oh dear, it's too early, where Nintendo a few days ago were like, hey, we haven't done one of these Directs in a while, let's do one tomorrow, and everyone was like, but my rumours! I didn't have a chance to perpetuate rumours! No! Because obviously people like to rumour about Directs and then be like, oh, where's my Direct? And there's all this Nintendo fanboy drama about, I need Directs, and basically it's just a bunch of entitled whining arseholes on the internet that we don't really need to stop and think about for too long. I sure do know how to garner a fan base, don't I? Alienate everyone that I remotely disagree with. Anyway, it wasn't actually that great of a Direct for me personally. Like, it's always gonna vary based on the person, based on what kind of a player you have, like what kind of games they enjoy, what other consoles they own, all of that kind of thing. For me it was very JRPG heavy, and JRPGs are a genre that I forever will look at and go, oh, I want to play that game, but know that I will not get more than a few hours into it before getting distracted by another game. Never finished a JRPG, never got more than halfway through one. I don't think I've even gotten up to halfway through one, unless of course you count Road Trip Adventure, the PS2 game, which I lovingly refer to as a CarPG. That being said, of the two highlights, and the second highlight is a massive caveat that comes with that, but the first was Miitopia, because Miitopia was a 3DS title which I liked the look of and considered buying, but truth be told I never gave my 3DS the love it deserved, and because I just couldn't see myself spending that much money on 3DS games. I think they're £50 a game, maybe they're £40 a game, I don't know, but either way, I got a 3DS and then I never spent much time playing it except for obviously Pokemon games. I always spend lots of time playing Pokemon games. Do they count as JRPGs? I finished Pokemon games. Maybe I'm doing okay. Actually, I couldn't get into Sun and Moon. But anyway, yeah, Miitopia was also towards the end of a 3DS's life cycle, which is another reason why I didn't buy it, because I knew that I'm probably not going to be playing much of this console soon, even though I already wasn't playing much of it. But the port to the Switch is exciting to me. And the other very tentative highlight that in the coming days I've realised maybe isn't so much of a highlight after all, is the Skyward Sword HD port slash remaster slash lazy port. And I saw that and I went, oh, they're doing this. I have very mixed feelings about it because I kind of want to play it. The premise of the game is interesting to me in that it's the earliest Zelda in the series, and I kind of like the look of it, like aesthetically, which I'm not sure is a very popular opinion, but I like it. It's bright, which is a nice departure from some of the previous games in the series. But the motion controls, man, when they started talking about motion controls, I was like, you did not double down on the motion controls. What the hell is wrong with you? And then they were like, oh, but you can also play with button controls if you really want to. So, okay, good. And they're like, the right analog stick controls the direction that you swing. And I was like, okay, not good. Okay, that's kind of worrying, actually. But, you know, whatever, dude. Now that I have an Xbox, I think when it comes to my Nintendo Switch, the only games that are really going to stand out to me are the Nintendo Switch specific ones, so stuff like Miitopia and Zelda games and all that. But yeah, in general, I used to be way more excited about ports to the Switch than I am now. Like, if I didn't have my Xbox and I didn't have my PS4, then I probably would have watched that Direct with a lot more interest, like, oh damn, they're porting this to the Switch, that's cool. But now I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It's like, especially now that the Xbox Series X and S are out now, and the PS5, it's like, well, this is dated technology now, so it's like, it's almost like, hey, we ported a game to last gen consoles. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, I guess it can do handheld. The idea of a Switch is still fantastic, but yeah, I think I just need to get back into playing my Switch a bit more. As I mentioned last week, I got back into playing some Mario on my Switch to stop myself from wanting to buy a Mario again, but that's last week's Weekly Waypoint. You can go watch that one if you're interested in that one. Yeah, other than that, Project Triangle Strategy looks potentially cool. Tactics strategy games are something I've yet to get into. I did pick up the Mercenary Chronicles Saga years ago on Switch, and I've never touched it. That was back when I still had my not so great purchasing habits of, wow, the thing I want is on sale, I better grab it, I'll play it another time, and then I never play it another time, I never do it. But maybe I should make that a project of mine. Go and play all the games I bought and then never played. Isn't there a YouTube series about that? Steam Train or something? Anyway, the other thing I don't know what that transition was. The other thing I want to talk about is BlizzConline, which happened and was much better than I was giving it credit for with my lack of hype leading up to it. But I'm just not into World of Warcraft right now, so I kind of had a hard time being excited for an MMO that I'm not currently playing, and then also 2 games which aren't going to come out this year or potentially even next year. But you know what? They got me. I really enjoyed BlizzCon. Starting with the World of Warcraft stuff then, and spoilers for the story that's happened in 9.0 and the trailer for what's coming up in 9.1, because I know some people are still playing through that content, so beware of the next few seconds. Dark Anduin is happening, and I'm okay with it because he didn't, like, they've made a big deal about the fact that he didn't turn evil willingly, he's just being used, and I think that's actually going to be really interesting for his character going forwards when we inevitably save him, and like what kind of a impact that's going to have on him. And as much as I personally do like Anduin as a character, I think a lot of the criticism about him just being a goody two-shoes Boy Scout, I can see where that comes from, and I think it's good that he's getting some actual character depth here of, you know, like, obviously right now he's just being controlled by the jailer, but when we free him, like, hopefully they play on that and lead to a more nuanced character, I guess. As for 9.1 in general, the content that's within, it all looks pretty damn good. I want my Lion Wyrm, which is what I'm going to call... Oh, it's a fox though, isn't it? For some reason I keep thinking it's a lion. It's not a lion, it's a fox, but they put the fox... well, they made a fox out of the serpent mount model thing. I cannot get my words out today, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen the presentation. If you don't, imagine a big old, I believe it's based on Chinese stuff, they're kind of like long dragons instead of, like, you know, the western kind of dragons. Imagine the Chinese long dragons that are like serpents. That's basically what's in that game already, and they're turning it into a fox. That's one of those, and if you're wondering how that looks, you can probably go find it. I like the look of a new zone. I think people forget that we don't often get new zones in 0.1 patches, although it's a little bit difficult for me to say that I like the look of something that we've barely seen. I think a key point in this entire presentation is that 9.1 seems to be early in development, and for those of you who don't play WoW, let me just tell you that on the timescale that WoW's currently at, that would mean it's incredibly late. So yeah, there's that, but I'm okay playing other games until it comes out. We're in the middle of a pandemic, man. Like, it must be really tough working on a game like that from home, so I think people forget that when they talk about, oh my god, wow, the release schedule is so late. It's like, yeah, well, there's a reason why Shadowlands was delayed, wasn't there? Like, maybe it's not going to be the same as other expansions. Maybe we're not even going to get free patches this expansion, or 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Maybe we're just going to stop at 0.2. But you know what? If that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it is, so just go with it. Although, for all of the people out there who only play World of Warcraft and don't really play other games like me, I can imagine how that might be frustrating, to be fair. I'm neck deep in RuneScape though, so I'm fine. You take your time, Blizzard. Diablo 4 continues to make me smile every time I look at it, because my god, just look at it, it's perfect. It looks amazing so far. I mean, this is going to be awkward if this ages badly and it turns out that the game is doo-doo when it comes out, but I don't think it will. The amount of like work and passion they're putting into this, and the way it already looks, even in this early, like, still probably 2 years out from release date, is a really good sign. I loved the trailer for the Rogue. It's I didn't think I would care about class reveals, but it turns out that I do. The entire time I was talking to Reese on Discord, and I was going, oh my god, which one is it? Because obviously, like, the intent of a trailer is to look at the rogue and be like, whoa, is it a rogue? Is it a demon hunter? What kind of a class is this? But I thought, I was convinced that Blizzard were going to pull the rug out from beneath us and be like, it's the priest! You get to play as an evil warped priest or something like that. But no, that's not what they did. Although, I kind of wish they were like, oh, we said we were revealing one class, we're revealing 2 classes, and then cut back to the trailer and he's like, yeah, and then you get to see what he can do. I don't know, maybe that's just me. The rogue looks like a lot of fun, though, their moves and everything. And I like that you can kind of choose what kind of a rogue you want to be. Like, you can spec into like being a hunter style rogue that uses a bow, or you can look more like you're out of Assassin's Creed and like specialize in daggers and stuff like that. That looks really cool. I wonder how many character slots we're going to have, and if we're going to be allowed to maybe create multiple classes, multiple characters of the same class, so that we can experiment with different builds like that. I hope so. I really do, but Diablo 3 has limited character slots for kind of lame reasons. Diablo 2 Resurrected isn't something that I thought I was going to care about, but you know what? Props to them. It looks good, and I'm probably going to try it. My main concern is that I started with Diablo 3, and I've played games which are inspired by Diablo 2, and they have a lot of things which haven't aged well, like the way they handle certain armor systems and comparing stats, and kind of like an overbearing focus on the idea that like you don't necessarily know at a glance whether a piece of gear is better for you than the one you're holding. You probably want to, if you really care about min-maxing your character, you probably want to go to external websites and like theory craft your shit, and I don't care about that. I've never cared about that in World of Warcraft and Diablo. I, at the risk of sounding like a damn casual, just want to hit shift, see some green icons and be like, oh cool. So anyone who's familiar with Diablo 2 might be going, oh, Diablo 2 is not a game for him, but don't worry, I'll find that out myself. I already know that because I watched a panel, comparing items wasn't even a thing you could do by holding shift originally, but that's something they've added in. But even then, the way Diablo 2 stats work, apparently, it would be too complicated to just be like, oh, highlight this as green because it's better than what you've got. So you're still going to have to make those decisions yourself, but maybe I just shouldn't worry too much about that and just go with more general upgrades as I play. As someone who is very familiar with all of the classes in Diablo, well, most of the classes in Diablo 3, I guess. I've played all of them, but I'm more familiar with some than others. I'm excited to play new classes in Diablo 2 and see how they play and what kind of builds you can make in that game and stuff like that. I worry that like the actual gameplay itself is going to feel kind of wooden because it's old and it's tile based and all of that kind of stuff, and it used to be a 2D game, but you know, it's remastered for a reason, so I'm sure that they will make it so that it feels the same, but it also feels more fluid for newer players. I don't know. I keep meaning to watch a Diablo Immortal panel because, I mean, if you just told me it's Diablo 3 on mobile, I'd probably be like, hell yeah, I'll get that, and that's basically what it is. So, yeah, I can't bring myself to, though. I'm probably just going to play it when it comes out. I think Diablo Immortal would be exciting to me in a vacuum where Diablo 4 did not exist and Diablo 2 did not exist. But because those games exist, I've watched those panels, man. I'll get to the mobile one, who cares? I must confess, I have not seen any Overwatch 2 stuff yet, because they omitted it from the opening ceremony, and I was like, oh, this is what they did to Diablo fans for years. That's unfortunate. But Reese tells me that the Overwatch 2 stuff is really good, and I should watch it, so I will watch it at some point. Hopefully, if I don't forget. Other than that, though, the things that I really enjoyed about BlizzConline in general was some of the panels that were like the Q&A, or the voice actor panel for World of Warcraft, and it's just stuff like that, which was really lovely, like to see creative processes and learn more about how they make the game, and kind of, it's just inspiring to see how, for instance, like the voice actor for Syed Anafrius sounds nothing like Syed Anafrius until he turns it on like a switch, and it's insane, and it's so cool. And but yeah, also like just in general, like over the years, whenever I've watched BlizzCon panels and listening to Blizzard developers talk about how they make their worlds, whether it's writers or artists, or again voice actors talking about what they bring to the character and everything like that, nothing inspires me the way that does. I think that would probably be my dream job. My dream job is probably to work at Blizzard, but we all know that's not going to happen. I live in England, and I think it's millions of people's dream job to work at Blizzard, but never say never, eh? Anyway, that was the Direct and BlizzConline. We've just about got time to talk about what I've been up to this week, besides watching those and hyping about those, which is RuneScape. I'm still very, very into RuneScape, still very much enjoying RuneScape. Iron Man is super rewarding so far, because when you create a set of mithril armor in the regular game, who cares? You could have bought that on the Grand Exchange, you could have bought that from a vendor. You still can buy it from a vendor, to be fair, but I made my own set and I upgraded it to +1 and +2, which you cannot do from a vendor, and it just feels super satisfying when you do stuff like that. I'm like, man, if making my own set of mithril plate armor feels this satisfying, how's it going to feel when I get like the major milestones in this game, like level 99 skills and like drops of like really important loot and all that kind of a thing, you know? Like, oh, I'm loving every second. I'm also enjoying questing in that game. I used to hate questing, but I've come around to it last time when I had to go and do all of the questing to unlock Prifdinus. I did so many quests that eventually, I won't say I forced myself to like it, but it grew on me, like the idea of questing. I like it now, and I'm having a very enjoyable time redoing a bunch of old quests, so that's fun. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.